Well, welcome back to the island. My name is Beast, and I've been holding this cat for too long, and I think he wants down. Say hello to the people, cat. Look up here. Nah, it doesn't want to. Oh well. I'll have him here, and I'm realizing that this was probably a mistake. What if I do this? Yeah, I just did nothing. Jesus Christ, don't slip. Oh, there we go. I don't know why I suddenly became, like, why I suddenly went German there. Yeah, anyways, hello and welcome back to Vana. My name is Beast, and today we're back with more Secret Agent. Half cat. I'm no longer half cat. And he's leaving. Okay, so much for that. Yeah, my mother's gonna be fucking happy when I fucking went into the living room, picked him up, dragged him down here, and now he's gonna go back upstairs and suddenly he's going to want attention from someone. So my mother is now fucking forced to pay attention to the cat. Even though she's trying to do a puzzle. That's gonna be funny. Anyways, Kanon. I'm not gonna be recording for too long today. Overall, I think I'm probably going to do this a bit slower. Actually, hold on. I need to ask people something. There you go, just had to ask them real quick. I'll just put this here and just leave it, I guess. I'm not sure why her face comes to mind. I just know that thinking of her makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Is this feeling what I think it is? Perhaps, but I'll forget about it for now. I should just be glad I'm able to continue my mission. I refocus and think about how to discover the bat's true identity. I need to, if I want to live up to Mom's faith in me. She said I should be able to achieve both objectives. But I also want to do myself proud. The fuck's going on now?
これで終わりだ。
Oh, of course.
最終奥義。民法下流演武人。
I'm a fool, for I should have known. God damn it. Sorry. Mild distraction. Anyways,
最終奥義来た
Ah! Curse you! Defeated by a single ninja once more.
己の欲望だけに従う貴様らでは 俺の自由を愛する心。その炎を消すことなどできん。
自由を愛する心。こんな時間に。お父さん
Alright, cue the talk that she has found a fiance. That he has found a fiance for her. Hello, Kanon. Whoops, is it nighttime there?
そうですね。すっかり夜も更けています。
Did I wake you up?
ちょっと日本語と文化の勉強を。
So you're watching that semi-model anime, weren't you?
はい。
I sure do love your ninjas. I want to ask you to stop watching anime, but make sure you wake up in time for school tomorrow.
気をつけます。そちらはどうですか？
We're doing well. We had a bit of a party here the other day, but we all miss you. Of course, no one misses you more than me.
お父さん。
That's why I've decided to come and visit you there.
本当ですか？いつこちらに？
I'm already here. There's gonna be a combat festival again this year, so I thought I'd come and watch it with you. Will you be available?
もちろんです。お父さんが来てくれるんですもん。
Great. Are you enjoying yourself there?
毎日とても充実しています。
You said there was something you were looking for when you went to Japan. Have you found it?
それはまだ。でも会いたかった人には出会えたと思います。
That's good. I hope you can introduce me to him when I come visit.
そうですね。その時はお話ししますね。
Okay, now I think that it's not actually gonna come down to that plot point. It's actually gonna come down to the plot point that her dad was, because he loves her, was entirely down to let her choose her own partner. Just, you know, after heavy scrutiny from him. So now he's just convinced, oh, so she's gonna introduce her lover to me. And it's going to move, and we're somehow going to go all the way to the combat festival without them officially getting together. And he's just gonna be like, so you're her boyfriend. It's just, yes. Because like literally the day before, it was like both of them heavily implied that they have a crush for the other. It's just that essentially it's not official yet, and this is gonna be the way it becomes official or some bullshit like that. Who knows? Anyways, I get ready quickly and leave my room at the usual time. I spent the whole of last night trying to think up a new plan to weed out the bat, but it came up empty. I guess I just have to consolidate what I know and search for a clue the slow and steady way. Start all over again, but oddly I'm not depressed about it. That's probably just how glad I am to be able to continue living here. I'd never expected to live this way before coming here. Like now, when I can sense Kanon hiding near the entrance, it brings a smile to my face.
今日はどうされますか？
Doing the AR every time would be no fun, so I'll go myself this time. Pretend not to have noticed her and head for the entrance. The not quite hidden shadow of Kanon moves behind my back.
スキャリー！
I dodge her attack without turning around and move to stand behind her instead.
あれ？消えた？
Behind you.
いつの間に？これも AR の分身ですか？
You have a habit of blinking when you bring down your weapon. I just used that opening to get behind you.
でも一度もこちらを振り返りませんでしたよね。
I could tell from your presence.
なるほど。気配ですか。私がまだ未熟だから気配を察知されてしまったと。そういうことですね。
Well, yeah, but we shouldn't talk here. Let's go to school. The present is something you fundamentally can't erase.
では相手に気づかれないように接近するにはどうすればいいのですか？
Either by distracting them with the presence of something else, or simulating the surrounding presence.
消せないのなら隠せばいい。なるほど、勉強になります。
By that logic, it's virtually no different from magic. It may seem like an exaggeration for the ninja arts, but if you divulge the secrets, it more or less is.
でもそこにはこれまで培われてきた忍者の知恵が詰まっているわけですよね。
I feel like they could have used a better word than magic, because based on what he said afterwards, it sounds more like magic trick. Like, you know?
私そこにとっても興味があるんです。
Which essentially the quote-unquote ninja arts are just really fucking fancy ways of using trickery and shit like that to make things seem supernatural or shit, bullshit like that. Anyways, I appreciate that, but what specifically about being a ninja do you want to learn?
そうですね。いろいろありますけど、最終的には私も忍者になれたら嬉しいです。
Well, if you want to become a ninja, you have to train.
確かに何をするにしても体が基本ですからね。
And I think, but you said you ordered throwing knives online, though. Why not start by practicing with those?
いいですか？個人的に練習を続けているんですけど、どうもうまくならなくて、ジン君に教えてもらえるのならめきめき上達しそうです。
Just try not to get your hopes up too much. At school, as I discussed ninja stuff with Kanon, there was another thing I never imagined doing before coming here. I'm not supposed to reveal my identity to anyone. Yet somehow Kanon ended up finding out, and here I am, teaching her how to be a ninja. I was initially worried, but now I've started to feel that it's not such a bad thing. I'm not really sure if the situation is good or bad, but at the very least, I'm enjoying myself. Looking at her smiling beside me makes me realize that anew. Upon arriving at school with Kanon, I immediately noticed something concerning. A number of students seem to be in a quarrel. What's going on, an argument?
あれ、コノハちゃんですよ。コノハちゃんがみんなに責められてます。早く止めないと。
Kanon! She barges between the students before I can stop her. Once between them, she proceeds to placate them.
みんな落ち着いてください。相手は女の子一人ですよ。それをこんなに大勢で詰め寄って。
She's trying to reprimand me. We were acting all high-minded, so we're just setting her straight. Yeah, screw her. The Order of Knights is in no position to lecture us
ど
now.
ういうことですか？私が服装のことで声をかけたんです。
You guys have no right to tell us what to do. The result of a duel is supposed to be absolute to Chevalier, but that guy just inconveniently ignored it. Worse, I heard he used the girl as a shield. What kind of chivalry is that? Get real.
それは。
Her eyes become teary as she bites her lip and hangs her head in defeat. It appears news of the incident the other day has spread amongst the regular students, and it's affecting her too now. Sort your own out before you tell us what to do. Should have evicted him from your ranks. Demoting him is just a slap on the back.
でもそれは団長が決めたことです。きっと何か考えがあって。
Who cares about that? She's just giving her own special treatment. They're gonna be even more worked up, aiming their anger at Konoha. Kanon listens intently to both sides before beginning to speak a conclusion as calmly as possible.
皆さんの言い分もわかります。でも、一人が過ちを犯したからといって、すべてを悪しきように言うのは違いますよ。
Honest to God, she's putting it much more gently than I would. I would have just straight up been like, okay, so you must also be an evil, irredeemable bastard. After all, you're part of the same group as them, namely the student body of the school. Congratulations, you're going to jail.
問題のあるシュバリエを見習いに降格したのも、身内に甘いわけじゃなくて、彼に公正のチャンスを与えただけだと思います。騎士団の皆さんは、それだけ学生のことを考えている証拠じゃないですか？きっと、シュバリエとか一般学生とか関係なく、学園のこと、学生のこと、全体を考えてくれているはずです。今までだってそうだったんですから。
appeases the angry students. They hang their heads in shame. She then looks at the boy who was reprimanded for his attire and smiles
それ
gently.
に制服は綺麗に着た方が素敵ですよ。着崩しているとだらしなく見えちゃいますから。
The boy she smiled at blushes and quickly tidies up his uniform. Kanon's intervention quelled the disruption in the blink of an eye, and no one's angry anymore. Well, if you say so. Fair enough. Kanon's only ever says what's right. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on the order though. Next time something happens, we're not going down quietly. Kona flinches at their response to her and stands up straight. Once the other students disperse, her shoulders slump in relief and she sighs loudly.
カノンさん、ミカゲ先輩、ありがとうございました。助かりました。
I didn't do anything. Kanon was the one who pacified him.
カノンさん、ありがとうございます。カノンさんって本当に勇気があるんですね。私がパンを落とした時も他の騎士見習いを注意してくれましたし、勇気があるっていうか、気がついたら行動してるんです。でも忍者を目指すならちゃんと状況を見て冷静に行動しなきゃダメですよね、師匠。師匠。
Now just ignore her. Class is about to start, so we'd better get to our classroom.
そうですね。では失礼します。
Kanon! Didn't I tell you to stop calling me master?
そうでした。忍者は隠密行動が基本ですよね。これからは気をつけます。師匠じゃなくてジンくん。
She acted without considering the consequences, but I can see why the Order has their eyes on her. Her sense of justice is the real thing. It's a little bit out there, but that's part of her job too.
ジンくん、どうしたんですか？人の顔をじーっと見つめて。
That nothing. Was I really staring?
見てましたよ。やっと忍者の修行をしてくれるのかと思いました。
Sooner or later.
どうしてですか？師匠、修行してください。師匠。
She pouts and bops me on the back, almost in tears. She keeps calling me master. As exasperated as I am by that, there's something relaxing about being with her. The bell rings, signaling the end of today's classes. I casually surveyed the school grounds throughout the day and found that the criticism directed at to the order was intensifying after that incident this morning. All the students in the classrooms, hallways, and cafeteria are gossiping about the order. From what I can tell, those who are against them slightly outnumber those who support them. It's only a matter of time. History proves that the public is eventually swayed by a majority. Kanon placated them this morning, but this problem is likely deep-rooted. It'll affect the direction the school goes from here on out. But is that any of my business? My mission is purely to investigate the connection between the bad and the school. I mean, let's say even if he had literally no emotional attachment to the school and no need to step in with things that are unrelated to the bad, he would still want to fucking make sure the situation doesn't escalate, because such a massive fucking incident and rowdy situation at school is just going to get in the way of his actual fucking investigation. Like, if everywhere is just pure fucking chaos because students are rebelling against students, it's going to be harder to see the actual, like, traces of the bad around, you know? Anyways, I should reassess the situation for the future. I walk in the opposite direction of the bustling crowd of students all heading home after school. At the rooftop to organize my thoughts, taking the order into consideration. It's a popular place among students during the day, but deserted at this time. No one stares at the school with nothing to do but stare at the evening lights. Oh my god, do you have any data on the students' reactions towards the Order of Knights?
田崎のパソコンから各学生のデータを読み取り、個人のデバイスに侵入してみました。ここ数日、反騎士団派の学生がチャット上で集会を行っているようです。今のところは集会と呼べる内容ではなく、愚痴を言い合っているだけですね。問題はないようです。
It's only a matter of time. If there's dissent within the school, it may hinder our investigation. Exactly. I should report this to headquarters.
はい、そういうところ。あなたのそういうところ、良くないと思うわ。
Fuck up, Momoka, don't do that. I shut up on suddenly hearing Mom's voice. Of course she isn't here, it's just Momoka imitating her voice. Don't startle me like that, what was that for?
ついでに学園生活を楽しんでいらっしゃい。と、静香様はおっしゃっていました。学園の揉め事を自分の力で抑えることも、学園生活を楽しむ一つだと思います。
Not on such a scale. Like, I feel like school-wide revolt does not happen in most schools. It really does sound like something my mother would say. Sign of exasperation at Momoka's comment when I see Kanon rushing over with a beaming smile and waving madly. I quickly dispel my thoughts of the order and call after her in my normal tone of voice. You haven't gone home yet.
ジン君を探していたんです。こんなところにいたということは何も用事はないってことですよね。
More or less, nothing pressing right now.
じゃあ、今日こそ忍者の修行をしてください。
She latches onto my comment with beaming eyes, pressing in close to me. My heart pounds due to her proximity. Her face is so close.
師匠、どうしたんですか？顔が赤いですよ。
No, I'm fine.
じゃあ、今日こそ忍者の修行をしてください。お願いします。
Alright, but like I said last time, the over-the-top stuff you're imagining is pure fiction.
滝に打たれたり、土に潜ったりしないんですか？
No, it's all about continuous daily training, like the Chevalier, for
なるほ
example.
ど。そうやって強くなったり、速く走れるようになるんですね。わかりました。頑張ります。
Seeing her so enthused warms my heart. We leave the rooftop as I ponder what training she could do. Yeah, you're a fast learner, I can tell you tried by yourself too.
そんなことないですよ。ジン君の教え方が上手だからです。
Your accuracy needs work. I think you'll be able to improve that by changing how you hold them.
どうやって持つんですか？
Like this. I grab the throwing knife, gently holding it, and I grab the throwing knife, gently holding it, and give her an easier to understand explanation. She looks at my hand and intently and makes ooh sounds in appreciation.
なるほど、なるほど。もう一回お願いします。
Okay, like that. She's so close again. That's not even the worst of it. Turn my gaze to Kanon, whose attention is on my hands. She's concentrating so hard on the throwing knife that she left herself vulnerable in many ways, including her more exposed breasts.
どうしたんですか、ジン君。
Nothing. Do you understand how to hold it now? Now I'll show you how to throw
よ
it.
ろしくお願いします。
Stare at the target and throw the knife in as slow a motion as possible so that you can grasp the form. Give yourself a satisfying thud as it stabs into the target.
やっぱりジン君はすごいです。こんなに綺麗に刺さるんですね。
With a bit more practice, you'll be able to achieve that accuracy too. Try throwing it while concentrating on using your wrist more.
手首を使うですね。
I'm struck with admiration at her dedication. She has a strong sense of justice, always gives 100%, and has a cheery personality to boot. I can see why she's popular at school. She's also caring. She immediately reached out to me on my first day of school. Come to think of it, she doesn't have a single flaw. Oh, I might just bias. Wait, hang on. Why would I be biased towards her? I get flustered when I realize how conscious I am of her. I have no idea how I should embrace or reject these feelings. Mom did tell me to enjoy school. Of course, my mission is to find evidence leading to that, but I've recently begun to enjoy my new life here. If I think of the strike between the Order and the regular students as part of school life, then getting involved isn't so bad. Ah! Shriek from Kanon breaks my train of thought. I look at her and see her somehow pinned underneath a tree branch flailing around. How'd that branch get there? Find the tears that corner of her eyes, musing as I lift the branch off her. She groans and stands up. She staggers and somewhat tumbles spectacularly, taking me with her. Oh fucking boy! Isn't that also like an AR outfit that she's got on? So how the fuck did it slip to reveal her fucking bra? I'm fine, but you might want to fix your clothes. She looks down. Her top's even more exposed than before, bringing her bra into view. She blushes furiously, hurriedly sitting up and fixing her attire. She covers herself up, heaves a sigh of relief, then stares at me. Jin-kun, mimashita? Just for a second, sorry. We both blush and cast our eyes down as an awkward silence ensues. That moment was when it finally became clear to me that I harbor special feelings towards her. Yes, my dick told me I love her. Morning classes end and the students all relax and disperse. Kanon usually rushes over to me during break, but not today. Look as stiff as a board. Are you okay?
ちゃんと修行してるって証拠ですから。この筋肉痛の積み重ねが忍者への道に通じてると思うと嬉しいです。
Seeing her determination and positivity brings a smile to my face every time. She's quite pleased to have started training in earnest and gives me her impression of yesterday enthusiastically.
Kanon-chan, いるかしら?
A familiar voice calls out to us from the entrance to the classroom, bringing Kanon's enthusiastic speech to a halt. I look there and see it in Joji.
いたいた。Kanon-chan, ちょっといい? また騎士団へのお誘いですか? でしたらそれは言う前から振られちゃったわ。相変わらず意志は固いのね。まあそういうところも見込んでスカウトしてるんだけどね。話はそれだけでしょうか。そうね、実はもうちょっとあるのよ。でもここじゃなんだから騎士団室に来てくれる?
We head to the order office following in Joji's lead. Kanon and I look at each other inquisitively upon seeing her act so uncharacteristically.
さて、話なんだけど、カノンちゃんとミカゲくんに改めて聞くわ。すみません。何度誘われても私は騎士団に入るつもりはありません。そっか。じゃあミカゲくんは?
Man, it's the same. Plus, if I were to join right now, I think that would only worsen the discord with the regular students.
どうしてかしら?
Everyone admires the order. It's hard enough just to become a squire. If a random new transfer student were to join, that would incite envy, which would evolve into anger.
確かにね。さすがミカゲくんだわ。
Is that all you need from us?
待って、これからが本番なの。二人が騎士団に入るつもりがないことは分かったわ。それなら敵に回ってくれる？
What? Connor and I look at each other dumbfounded. She has a serious look on her face, making it clear she's not
敵に
joking.
回るってどういうことですか？
I don't understand why you'd want us to oppose the order. Care to explain?
もちろんよ。
She grins and slowly takes her captain's seat. Her expression becomes more stern. She stares directly at us and begins to explain in a firm tone.
一般学生が騎士団に対して不満を持っているのは知っているわね。
はい。教室でもその話題が多いです。正直なところ、擁護するより反対派の方が多い気がします。
ニカゲ君はどう思う？
Feel some way. I hear opposing discussions in the corridor and cafeteria. Once the opposing faction becomes too big, the supporters won't be able to speak up.
そうね。
Speak up.
少数の擁護派は仲間外れを恐れて声を上げないでしょうね。正直、この状態は非常にまずいと思うの。それこそ騎士団の解散もあり得るかもしれないわ。
騎士団が解散？そんな。悪いのは女性を襲ったあの人です。騎士団全員が悪いわけではありません。シュバリエのほとんどは学園を良くしようとしてくれてるし、
カノンちゃんならそう言ってくれると思ったわ。
She puts on a tender smile to ease the rising
実は
tension.
先日の揉め事は騎士団の耳にも入ってるのよ。もちろんカノンちゃんが止めたこともね。だからこそ反対派に回るのはカノンちゃんが正しいと思ったの。どういう
ことですか？話が見えないんですけど。
Basically, you'd like Kanon to bring the opposing faction together and persuade them.
ちょっと違うわ。カノンちゃんが説得しようとしても多分反対派は話を聞かないと思うの。だからバランスを取ると言った方がこの場合はしっくりくるわね。
Doesn't look like Kanon can fathom what she's saying even after the added explanation. She lifts her head. Looks like a big question mark is floating above her. I'd like her to gather the opposing faction to achieve a balance to avoid them going overboard and establish a channel of communication with the order. Something like that?
全くその通りよ。それができるのはカノンちゃんしかいないと思うの。
私がですか？
カノンちゃんは反対派の意見も擁護派の意見も分かっているわ。第三者的な目線で見ていると思うの。それに流されない強い意志が必要よ。意志がなければ反対派に回って取り込まれてしまうから。やってくれるかしら？
Kanon frowns and falls into silent thought. It's a huge responsibility, but I believe it in Georgie is right. Kanon's the only one who can do it. What do you think? I feel like it'd be the perfect role for you.
もちろん無理強いはしないわ。断ってくれても構わない。
私もこのまま学園が分裂してしまうのは良くないと思っています。なんとかしたい気持ちはありますけど、あまりにも責任重大で。
Kanon's always clear at expressing her thoughts, but this time she hesitates and hangs her head uncharacteristically. I'm not surprised. This will determine the future of the school, so it's a critical role.
そうね。いきなり言われても困るわね。すぐに返事しなくてもいいわ。カノンちゃんが納得いくまで考えてくれれば、気持ちの整理ができたら返事をちょうだい。
わかりました。
Kanon bows her head with a clouded expression. After that, we leave the office. Her expression, a complete 180 of her usual sunny mood, speaks volumes of the inner turmoil she's facing. And it's the following day after Joji's request. Kanon always greets me cheerfully, but this morning she's still in deep thought. Morning, Kanon.
ジン君、おはようございます。
Still thinking about that proposal?
だって私が反騎士団のリーダーだなんて、 そんなの荷が重いですよ。
Really? I think you'd be good for the position and no one else could do it.
無理ですよ。ただの喧嘩の仲裁じゃないんですよ。学園の今後に関わることだし。
She frowns and slumps her shoulders diffidently. What? Oh, probably the opposite of confidently. From the looks of it, she didn't get much sleep last night either. Then Georgie said you could take as long as you want to think about it. Don't rush yourself. Just do it as from your own point of view. See what you want, see what you feel, then
見
decide.
て感じてですか？
Sure, why not just observe the students for today? Even if the opposition has grown, they all have their own opinions. You could try listening to them before giving a Georgie a response.
そうですよね。わかりました。今日一日みんなに話を聞いてみます。
Just standing still and brooding won't achieve anything. No matter what the situation is, acting will give you the shortest route to the answer. I'm not sure what she'll decide, but I'll keep my eyes on her till then. At the cafeteria with Kanon to sort out the information we gathered during the morning. I hear talk about the order being everywhere within the cafeteria, and most of it is negative. Towards the order really is building up. What do you think?
午前中いろんな人に話を聞いたんですけど、反騎士団派が多い感じですね。
Just irritated there. Thought
で
so.
も反対していてもその度合いはまちまちというか、ちょっと悪く思ってる程度の人から親の敵のように悪く言う人までいろいろですね。
So even among the opposing faction, there's no consensus of opinion. That's not enough to break them into factions, and they can all be grouped together as the opposition.
そこなんですよね。そこまで悪く思ってない人は騎士団のいいところだって認めてるってことです。だからそういう人たちがもっと意見を言えるようになったら状況も変わるかな。
True, but in the current climate, the louder voices are drowning out the minority. Those at the killed their parents level must be really enraged, and it makes it harder for the others to voice their opinions.
そうなんですよね。だからこそ、
She probably means someone to coordinate them, but if she were to express it openly, she'd become the opposition leader. She probably needs to mentally prepare herself to be able to decide.
2ヶ月先輩、カノンさん。
I look up and see Konoha. She appears to have been waiting for us. She's sitting in front of us, crouching apologetically, and bows her head slightly.
お礼を言おうと思って待ってたんです。先日はありがとうございました。
What has the opposing force done since then? They haven't picked another fight, have they?
はい、今のところは。でも陰口を言う人は増えてます。
Connor, why don't you ask Konoha how she sees the situation from the Order's point of view?
そうですね。
どうしたんですか？
はい。ちょっと反騎士団派について調べてるんです。騎士団内ではどういう風に見てるのかなって。
そうですね。
She hesitates and hangs her head. It seems to be something hard for her to talk about. She keeps hanging her head for a while before timidly looking up at us and choosing her words carefully before speaking up.
反対派を抑えることは今の騎士団でも一番の問題になっています。団長はもう少し様子を見ようって言ってます。でも別のシュバリエの方が
You want to eliminate them forcefully?
そこまでは言っていません。まだ反対派も表立った行動を起こしていないので。でも暴動や抗議集会が行われれば迷わず鎮圧するはずです。それが正 正義だと信じているシュバリエならとことんやると思います。
そんなことが起こったらますます収拾がつかなくなっちゃう。
そうなんですよね。一般学生に悪く言われてすぐに頭に血を上らせる人もいますから。
Just as regular students speak ill of the knights also think poorly of the regular students who oppose them. It's a simple thing, but since Connor and I have only been looking at it from the school's point of view, we've completely missed that. The situation is more dire than I thought. At the risk of both the opposition and Junior Chevalier losing their minds.
そうですね。コノハちゃんをいじめてた人もいるし、そういう人が先走って行動するかもしれません。コノハちゃん、話を聞かせてくれてありがとうございます。
はい。
Problem intensified over a few days. There's this pressing urge for countermeasures. Connor must have felt that. She said very little afterwards and appeared to be thinking about what she should do. He's acting pretty absent-minded, considering how much he enjoyed the training previously. Kunai missing their targets, flying off in random directions. I stopped for the day, your mind seems to be someplace else, and I don't want you to get hurt.
そうですね。すみません。
Are you still thinking about that in Georgie's proposal?
そうですね。コノハちゃんの話を聞いて、思ったよりも大変なことになってるって感じたんです。
Can I just say how Yui's route thus far felt the most disconnected from the others? Just because, like, the others were, like, largely about the opposition. Like, in Mai's, it's like the opposition to her as the captain specifically, which is probably part of the reason why the regular students don't like the Chevalier as much. Then in Kagura's route, it is largely about the opposition, you know, causing fucking issues all over the fucking place. And in this one, it seems to also be about the opposition, but more of a how do we, like, satisfy both sides, essentially, instead of just shut down the opposition the way it was in Kagura's route. And then there's Yui over here just, like, having fun playing with her AI.
だから早く決めなきゃいけないのに。
What are you thinking?
私の思いは変わりません。シュバリエにだっていい人はいるし、騎士団すべてを悪く言うのは間違ってます。でも一般学生の言い分もわかるんです。確かに一部のシュバリエは横暴な人もいますから、学生と騎士団はもっと風通しのいい関係になるべきです。話し合えばきっと実現できます。
Seems to be leaning towards leading the opposition. But there's something there that's making her hesitate. But still can't make the final leap. Can you tell me what's making you hesitate?
反対派に回るということは、神楽さんやコノハちゃんと敵対関係になるってことです。最初は形だけの敵対関係かもしれないけど、状況によっては本当にぶつからなくちゃいけなくなるかも。そうなってしまうのが一番辛いんです。
Sense of justice and drive to act is real. You always have both the order and the students in your thoughts. You're persuasive yet still kind, so I think they'll all listen to you. You can do it. Just do it at your own pace without overdoing it. I'll support you as much as I can, so don't worry.
ジン君。
That must have reassured her. She stares at me, looking like she's about to shed tears. She wipes the tears with her arm, and then her expression becomes resolute.
ジン君、私やってみます。どうなるかわからないけど、ジン君がいてくれるなら大丈夫です。今の問題を解決して、騎士団と学生たちの関係をもっと良くしてみせます。
Her clouded expression lights up like the sun shining between the gap in the clouds. Really love seeing her smile more than anything, and resolve myself to support her to the utmost of my abilities. Also reminds me, I don't remember if I talked about this scene specifically in the Seventh Loop manga that I'm reading. But like, the Crown Prince's younger brother kidnapped the MC because he essentially wants to demonize himself in front of his brother so much that he is forced out of the castle because he thinks that that's for the best for his brother, for his older brother. So he kidnapped her and had her locked up. She of course escaped, and as he's talking to his older brother is like, "Oh, don't worry, you fucking lost the moment you thought you captured her. Oh, right, here she comes." And she just opens the door. "Hey, so before anything, I have a fucking issues I have a few fucking issues with what you did. First off, why the fuck did you not put anyone in the same room as me when you're trying to keep me captured and when you're trying to keep me captive? At least have 2 people in the same room as the fucking person you're captured. Secondly, no one fucking body checked me. Checked if I had anything on a person. First thing you do after capturing someone is make sure they strip fucking naked so you can be sure they don't secretly have a weapon on them. Thirdly, you tie the wrists together and ideally the base of the thumbs as well so they can't fucking get out of it." And what else was there on the list? Hold on, actually, let me just fucking get it open. Why not? Was it this chapter? Nah, it was the one before that. Nope, the one before that one. Chapter 14. There we go, it starts. Here it starts. Anyways, I'm sorry, but there's something I need to tell you. First, you cannot take your eyes off a prisoner of war that you've captured. You have to at least, you have to have at least 2 people in the same room as them. Second, you need more than 1 person to perform a physical examination of your captive. Check them yourself afterwards. It would be best if you stripped them naked. Third, bind their hands behind their back and their thumbs together at the base. After restraining them, you should tie them to a pillar or a bed. Their ankles too, of course. But even all that isn't enough. Do you know what's the most important thing to do? Break their arms and legs. Break their bones and restrain them. Take all their belongings and make sure they're under surveillance. Only then can you say that they are unlikely to escape. Like Jesus Christ, that's the man that just kidnapped you, and you're giving him advice on how to do it better, so you can't escape next time. Like, what the fuck? Like, this man was literally just standing like, what the fuck have I done? I'm scared. Once Kanon has resolved herself, she acts quickly. The first order of business is to inform Dan Georgie that she'll lead the opposing faction. She put aside the training that she loved so much and went to the order office after school the next day.
カノンちゃん、来てくれて嬉しいわ。その様子だと決心してくれたのね。
はい。反騎士団派をまとめる役をお引き受けしたいと思います。
三影くんも
I'm going to support Kanon.
それは心強いわ。三影くんがブレインになってくれればきっとうまくまとまると思うの。いろいろと大変だろうけど、私も力を貸すわ。表だって団長としては無理だけどね。
Can I ask something?
何かしら。
Can you tell us what you think will happen going forward?
私の考えね。
She flashes a grin and looks at us knowingly. A few seconds later, she leans back into her chair and speaks feebly.
これといって特には。ただこの現状を何とかしたいと思っているだけよ。カノンちゃんと気持ちは一緒。
Really? Kanon looks at us curiously in turn and cocks her head. I tell her it's nothing and she continues, accepting my response.
やると決めた以上は精一杯頑張ります。その間、騎士団のことはお願いしますね。
大丈夫よ。そのあたりは任せて。
お願いします。
Kanon bows her head and then leaves the office looking determined. From the look of Georgie's smile when we left, she seems to be scheming something. At the roof, meeting with Georgie was exhausting for Kanon, but she has a lot more to do. But she has a lot more to go. She appears anxious, and the instant we arrive at the rooftop, she takes a deep breath and lets out a long sigh.
緊張しました。やっぱりマイさんってオーラがすごいですから。
You know, slouch yourself. You already have the bearing of the opposition leader.
リーダーだなんてそんな。
So what are you going to do now? You're already listened to the regular students plenty.
そうですね。反対派の人たちのグループというか、そういう集会があれば参加してみたいです。どのくらい盛り上がってるのか、現状が把握できると思いますから。でも、そういったグループがどこにあるのか。
A group of the opposition faction. I'm trying to think of if something rings a bell. I feel like I've heard this before. Actually, I did investigate this earlier.
そうなんですか?
I dug into it a little after Kono's incident. Apparently, the opposition faction gathers on a chat forum to air their grievances.
チャットだと、ハンドルネームや匿名だと発言が過激になりがちです。できればリアルで会いたいですね。
I can understand that. That way you can assemble them and easily explain how you feel. I'll investigate to see if they're gathering in person.
チャットのログをチェックしたところ、彼らが放課後に中庭で決起集会をするようです。
放課後？
はい。すでに数人が集まっているようです。
We should be able to make it if we leave now. Let's go. After a large number of students have already gathered, quite a large number of students have already gathered at the rally. When we show up, they all turn to look at us. The next instant, the students raise their voices in a rousing celebration. It's Kanon! She came for us! Now something'll happen! Kanon's the only one who can sell this! Thought you'd get a warm reception, but not quite like this.
何かあったんでしょうか?
Flustered from the rousing reception, we look to see what the fuss is. Female student senses that bewilderment and begins to explain the situation. There was word on the chat that an anti-Knight faction was gathering and new people came along. They said that the Order was going to suppress the anti-Order faction and all hell broke loose.
暴動が起きない限り、騎士団だってそんな乱暴なことはしないと思います。
I thought so too, but the newcomer said that the anti-Order faction members would be barred from the academic city for life. Can they even do that?
桐花学園でのことなら、何らかの処分をシュバリエが行うことはあるかもしれませんけど、学園都市から追放なんて。
Yeah, there's no way the Order has such authority.
でも、この混乱の中で言われたら。
Most likely the majority of students would assume that that where there's smoke, there's fire. That's why everyone was ecstatic when they saw Kanon came. She's bold enough to be able to tell the Order exactly what she thinks. If Kanon hadn't come along, there's a possibility it would have turned into an all-out riot. We've managed to avert the worst possible scenario, but we need to gather the anti-Order faction ASAP and find a place to establish a dialogue. Rumor that Kanon had joined spread like wildfire among students, causing the number of people joining the anti-Order faction to increase every day. Students all mutually agreed that Kanon is the only one who can express our opinion to the Order, and you people with minor grievances were joining in. Kanon has become the symbol of the anti-order faction and inevitably was elevated to the position of leader. We welcome Kanon Mayfield to the anti-order faction. She will bring a revolution against the control of the Order of Knights. We are the Revolutionary Army, and we appoint Kanon Mayfield as our leader. A rally of the Revolutionary Army is being held, and they've announced Kanon as leader with great fanfare. Of course, it goes unopposed, and the roar of the crowd almost tears down the auditorium.
私が革命軍のリーダーに就任した理由は皆さんを守るためです。そのためにも個人的な運動は避けてください。それぞれに思うことや許せないこともあるでしょう。不満はすべて私に集めてください。平和な学園生活を送るためにもみんなで協力しましょう。
Revolutionary Army cheers in response. Everyone has the same objective, and given their desire to rise to action, her speech is incredibly effective. That should prevent the opposition from rioting for the time being. The real difficulty begins now. I stand at the back of the auditorium with my arms crossed, watching the dignified figure of Kanon giving her speech. Perhaps it's too big a responsibility for her to shoulder alone, given her strong sense of justice and duty. That concern suddenly starts eating away at me. The next few days after the rally, Kanon put her nose to the grindstone. She's been running off her feet for the Revolutionary Army, foregoing even her beloved training. The more she acts, the more unified the Revolutionary Army becomes. Titties. Are you okay? She lets out a ringy sigh on the rooftop, so I check on her. She looks my way and smiles somewhat feebly.
ジン君
Must be exhausted.
そうですね。少しだけ。でも大丈夫です。革命軍のリーダーになってから騎士団の人たちと疎遠になっちゃうっていうか、やっぱり表立って話もできないし、木の葉ちゃんや神楽さんとあまりお話できないのは少し寂しいですね。
But then Joji were to explain that Kanon is doing this as per her plan, they would understand. However, the more people who are in on the secret, the higher the probability that gets out, and that Joji undoubtedly knows that. I know you can't see them now, but once this is over, you'll all return to being friends. I'm sure that Kono and Shirogane understand that too.
そうだね。
I hear a familiar voice behind us and turn around to see Shirogane with folded arms, frowning.
神楽さん。
今は革命軍ができたばかりで、今後騎士団への反発もますます強くなるでしょう。どちら側にもつかない学生も2つの圧力に挟まれ疲弊しているのも事実ね。だからこのタイミングで私とカノンが仲良く談笑でもしてようならば、言わなくてもわかるでしょ。
Whoops. There would be voices of discontent from both the Revolutionary Army and the Order. It would be seen as an act of betrayal.
そうね。だから私は意図的にカノンを避けてたの。しかし私はシュバリエであるとともにカノンの友人。立場で敵対したとしても今までの関係には変わりない。私はそう思ってるよ。
Her grim expression eases and she cocks her head and smiles. This causes Kanon to breathe a huge sigh of relief, and her tense shoulders relax.
そうですよね。私、神楽さんは神楽さんです。立場上敵対しても中身までは嫌いになりません。どうしてこんな簡単なことわからなかったんでしょうね。
そうよ。それでこそカノンよ。どんな状況であれカノンは笑っているべきなの。その笑顔が革命軍や学生たちの緊張を和らげるから。それを忘れないで。
Shirogane pats Kanon on the shoulder with a warm smile. I'm sure her comment is more reassuring than anything else to her right now. Her depressed expression brightens up and her characteristic enthusiasm returns.
ありがとうございます。早く神楽さんや木の葉ちゃんと遊べるように革命軍と騎士団を仲直りさせますから。
Having said that, this has only just begun. Pressure will be stacked on Kanon, and it'll tie her unto no end. My job's to support her in that exhausting role. Ever since the Revolutionary Army was formed, there has been heightened tension everywhere within the school. Even the Chevalier and Squires, who normally act arrogantly, have been quiet as of late. The army has been amply effective in terms of avoiding minor conflicts.
ジン君、おはようございます。
Morning, you're kind of sleepy.
革命軍から上がってきた報告書を読んでいて、あまり寝てないんです。でも大丈夫。シュバリエの素行を注意するのに、私の素行が悪くては説得力がないですから。しっかり授業も受けて、リーダーっぽく頑張りますよ。
When you see her getting so fired up, I smile, thinking how that response is just like her. On the other hand, I do have my concerns. The fact that she was up late last night reading reports just goes to show just how many complaints there are about the order. What was the order doing?
一部のシュバリエが革命軍の鎮圧を考えているらしい。まだ噂でしかないんですけど、やっぱり無視はできないかなって。
That rumor was there when you joined the Revolutionary Army, wasn't it?
はい。新しく加わった人がそんなことを言っていたとか。詳しく話を聞こうにも誰も名乗りを上げてくれなくて。
This pressure rumor is probably misinformation. I seriously doubt that Georgia would consider such a rash action. So was it a student happy with the order saying that to try and light a fire in the Revolutionary Army? This looks like something I should personally look into myself. So what do you think?
私に革命軍をまとめてほしいと持ちかけた以上、騎士団は舞さんが抑えてくれていると思います。それでもやっぱり革命軍と騎士団の圧力は強くなってるし、不満を持っているシュバリエもいるかも。
There are people like Alfred who claim that the order is always in the right, and that could easily happen.
ジン君はどう思います？
I can only speak in terms of hypotheticals at this stage, but I don't think there are Chevalier that would act rationally.
そうですよね。
Clearly she needs to be cautious, but I don't want to give her any more worries to think about. I want to make things easier for her now, however I can. This man is just a secret servant to President Kanon. At lunchtime, I searched for Kanon and tried to help her. However, she apparently left on business with the Revolutionary Army as soon as the bell rang, so I don't catch her. I don't know if she's in the cafeteria.
三影先輩、今日はカノンさんと一緒じゃないんですか？
As a meeting alone, Konoha comes up and speaks to me. She then casts a glance around to see who might be watching and hesitantly sits in front of
カ
me.
ノンさんが一緒なら私がいちゃまずいかなって。三影先輩も嫌なら。
Don't worry, I attend the Revolutionary Army gatherings, but I'm neutral.
よかったです。
Relieved to hear my response, she lets out a sigh and relaxes. She looks to have something to tell me, but is having trouble getting it out. Do you have something to tell me about the order?
はい、実はそうなんです。やっぱり一部のシュバリエは革命軍のことをよく思ってないらしくて。
Would that be?
すみません。具体的に誰かまではわからないです。私も噂で聞いただけですので。でも、今の状況だとそういう考えになりやすいかも。
It appears the situation is more pressing than I thought. Chevalier's frustrations are reaching a breaking point. Any slight pressure and it'll burst. I don't know what'll do. What'll do it. Thanks, but you shouldn't talk much about this in public. You never know who might be listening.
はい。でも、いつまでこんなことが続くのでしょうか。私、カノンさんと前みたいにお話ししたいです。
Her eyes become moister and are on the verge of producing tears. I'm trying to think of a way to console her when an exhausted Kanon shows up holding the lunch.
私はこれで失礼します。
Kanon almost stops her but pulls her hand back and closes her mouth before she can say Konoha's name. She watches her leave and as a sorrowful frown forms on her face. After that, she sits down in front of me.
やっぱり避けますよね。私、革命軍のリーダーだし。
She's sad about it too. She said she actually wants to speak to you.
本当ですか？
Yeah, so let's finish this quickly. Did you have a meeting with the army?
はい。 やっぱり革命軍は騎士団の鎮圧を恐れてるみたいで、やられる前にやってやろうって息巻いてる人たちがいるんです。その人たちを抑えるために説得を。
Konoha and Kanon's stories share a common theme. Both camps are harboring a lot of resentment, but bringing up the earlier discussion will only add to Kanon's concerns. Must be pretty tired lately.
いえ、大丈夫です。休んでる暇なんて。
That's a problem. You're the leader of the Revolutionary Army. You need to get enough sleep since you have such an important role. They can't have you collapsing when it counts. So let's go do something to unwind at school. You don't need any rest. You don't get any rest while... You don't get any rest while you're at school.
いいんですか？でもできれば修行の方がいいな。
We can do that when you're not exhausted. Once the stress is gone, we'll practice as much as you like.
はい、約束ですよ。
Her gloomy frown finally turns upside down. It's only a temporary distraction and won't last long, but I think it's what she needs right now. After that, we head to the fresh juice store that Kanon showed me. I spotted a number of Toka Academy students, but they don't pay Kanon much heed.
この前より種類が増えてますよ。どれも美味しそうで、これは迷っちゃいますな。
Why not one of these healthy juices full of vegetables? It'll probably help with your fatigue.
ジンくん、これ完全に緑色じゃないですか。匂いだって。まごうことなきピーマンです。どっからどう見ても飲んでみてもピーマンです。
You won't know unless you take a sip.
わかります。わかるんです。とにかくこれは完全にアウト。
She purses her lips, making a buzzing sound, and holds her arms in a huge X in front of her face. She eventually chews a sweet-looking chunk of drink and smiles like an innocent child as she drinks it. That looks insanely sweet.
美味しいですよ。ジンくんはこういうの飲まないんですか？
I'm not much of a foodie. I don't care what I eat or drink as long as I get nutrition.
そんなのつまんないですよ。一口飲んでみてください。
That also
美味しいですよ。
fucking contradicts something we said in another route. He actually does have a sweet tooth. It's just that he doesn't get to eat it that often. She holds out her partially finished drink. However, I don't initially take it, so she stares at me. Really? She wants me to drink it? She's already had some of it, so it would definitely make this an indirect kiss. Wait, no, there's no way Kanon would have thought that. I'm just being overly
ジ
conscious.
ンくん、早く。
She pouts, so I give in to her pressure and take a sip. To be honest, I don't know what to make of the taste, but she seems pleased.
ひ師匠、飲みましたね。関節キスですよ。あ、真っ赤になったっていうことは意識してたんですね。
What? I don't care about that stuff at all.
本当ですか？じゃあ、気にしてたのは私だけですか？
She pouts and changes her head, and hangs her head bashfully, staring at my face. Her rapidly changing expressions make my heart pound. Are you done now? Come on, let's get going.
あ、ジンくん待ってください。
Turn around to hide my flushed face and briskly walk off. Her voice calling to me has the same cheerful tone as when we first met. We go around town enjoying ourselves, and by the time we make it back to the dorm, it's completely dark out. We both don't want to say goodbye, and specifically avoided verbalizing those
ジン
words.
くん、今日はありがとうございます。いい気分転換ができました。
Had fun too. This may be the first time I've spent this much time hanging out with a friend.
嘘でも嬉しいです。
I actually never hung out with friends due to my daily training. Me hanging out in the city with a girl my own age is something I thought would only happen in an alternate reality. Yes, this is what it means to enjoy the school
ま
life.
た明日からきっと忙しいんですね。革命軍と騎士団の争いなんて 早く終わればいいのに。
I'm sure it won't be long.
終わったら私ジンくんにお菓子を作ってあげたいです。食べてくれますか？
She blushes, her eyes flutter around bashful as she looks at me, waiting for my response. I've seen a number of expressions from her today, but this one is the most adorable. Of course, I'll gladly eat them.
約束しましたよ。指切りです。
We entwine our little fingers and make a promise to engrave this moment in our minds. The instant our little fingers part, I feel a keen twinge of sadness.
それじゃあまた明日。
Yeah. We both part reluctantly and walk off slowly. I stop and turn around to see Kanon watching me.
見つかっちゃいました。ジンくんを最後まで見送ろうと思ってたのに、私もう部屋に戻りますね。ジンくんも早く戻ってください。
After waving exaggeratedly, she scuttles back to her dorm. After seeing her leave, I feel a warm feeling deep inside and return to my own room. Kanon was apparently busy all morning with revolutionary army business, so she is relieved now that she can talk to me. But he does seem less fatigued than yesterday. The change of pace looks to have been a success. Aye, busy as ever, I see.
はい、でも大丈夫です。昨日十分にリフレッシュしましたから。それよりお昼にしませんか？朝から忙しかったからお腹が減っちゃいました。
If you go to the cafeteria, you might be bothered again, so let's buy some and head to the rooftop.
今日は天気もいいし賛成です。さあ行きましょう。
It's Kanon here! As we're preparing to leave, a girl bursts into the classroom, ashen-faced. It's easy enough to imagine that our lunch plans will be ruined based on her expression alone.
どうしたんですか？
Come to the cafeteria immediately. The Order and the Army are fighting. You're the only one who can stop them.
今行きます。
When we arrive at the cafeteria, a few chevaliers are surrounding a huge group of the army. Even a chevalier would cower before such a large group. Their typical arrogant attitude is nowhere to be seen.
何があったんですか？
A few chevaliers are surrounded by a huge group of the army. Kanon intervenes and calmly pacifies the revolutionary army. Chevaliers snort when they see her. One then points out the students with his chin. We were just telling this regular student they were using the chevalier seats. And then they flipped out and started telling us to correct our own behavior and stuff. They were itching for a fight. Well, no duh. The Order in any position to act all high and mighty now? Yeah, you're a bunch of scumbags who use girls as hostages, as if you deserve preferential treatment. Cries of support criticizing Chevalier can be heard from the other students at the cafeteria. The Chevalier click their tongues, upon which Kanon pushes the army members out of the cafeteria by the shoulders.
状況はわかりました。でも小さないざこざはなるべく避けた方がいいと思います。
But why should the Chevalier get dedicated seating? All the preferential treatment clearly gets to their heads.
でも以前からシュバリエは専用の席を使っていました。座るだけなら問題はないと思います。食事を邪魔されたわけではないのですから、それでいいじゃないですか。食堂は楽しく過ごす場所ですよ。
Okay, I won't do it again. The situation is completely diffused by Kanon's intervention that the gathered students disperse. She lets out a huge sigh, and once she relaxes, she sits opposite me.
お昼ご飯、食堂になっちゃいましたね。
So be it, but this really is a bad sign. The army is getting more irate with each passing day. It must be quite tiring trying to keep them in check.
そうなんです。最初は騎士団の素行に対する不満が多かったんですが、最近は直接衝突することも増えていて。
You're dissuading them each time?
皆さん話せば分かっていただけるのですけど。
By all signs, it appears the revolutionary army is looking for a fight. Even the Chevalier are just sitting in their seats as they always have, they can't tolerate their complaints. That's making the resentment build up and may make them change their opinions of the Revolutionary Army. The situation isn't good.
そうですね。この状況が続けば、本当に騎士団が鎮圧に乗り出すかもしれません。
Once they start doing that, the army will get even more fired up and it could devolve into all-out war.
そんなこと、誰も望んではいないのに。
If the scuffles continue, the situation will just continue worsening. It worries Kanon and it might just pain her. It's probably just the right time. Kanon has achieved more than enough in a role. Suddenly think of Renjoji. He's probably thinking exactly the same thing I just did. Kanon, if an offer to negotiate comes from the order, are you prepared to accept?
もちろんです。話し合いで解決するのが一番ですから。
Renjoji has probably been waiting for the time to be ripe. He decided to set out independently and ask the captain what her real motives are. I don't want Kanon to suffer any longer. School seems on edge thanks to the little scuff in the cafeteria. Like, I don't like this sad soundtrack. Like, it's too over the top. Like, it's so over the top that if it's actually used for, like, scenes that are supposed to be sad or dramatic or something like that, it just comes off as comedic instead. It does not fucking work. Not at fucking all. Like, it's not the problem that it goes, like, quote-unquote hard. The problem is that it just immediately starts it. Like, for, like, dramatic and sad moments, it needs to, like, properly, like, sink in. So just immediately just going, like, just doesn't work. It just does not. Anyways. There are a lot of Chevalier loitering around, and they clearly want to have a run-in with the Revolutionary Army. Fortunately, Kanon has warned the army, and Renjoji is controlling the orders, so neither have started anything. Do you have a meeting again today, Kanon?
食堂のことを皆さんに話しておこうと思いまして。
You can do that. I'll be busy, so I can't participate. Will you be okay?
大丈夫です。
With stern expression, she leaves the classroom with a dignified manner befitting a leader. After she's gone, I head to the order office to carry out my role. Captain, please make a resolution! I hear an angry cry from a male student as I enter the office. Chevalier is cornering Renjoji, objecting vehemently to something. Should I come back later?
大丈夫よ。ちょっと待っててくれる？
Chevalier gives me a sidelong glance before looking straight back at Renjoji. He ignores my presence and continues blasting her with his emotional plea. I know you heard what happened at the cafeteria. At this rate, they may use sheer numbers to force the order to disband. We can't wait until then. You have to make a resolution right
みん
away.
なそう思っているの？
At the moment, it's only some of us, but it won't be long before everyone agrees.
だったら今ではないわね。
But...
話は以上よ。
Alright, excuse me. He bows to Renjoji, a sour expression on his face. His discontent exuding from him, he clicks his tongue and leaves the office.
みっともないところを見せちゃったわね。
Nah, that's pretty much what I expected. Though, I thought there'd be Chevalier saying that. You knew this too, didn't you? That brings that smile to her face that I've seen before, and she slowly stands up from her seat. After walking up to me, she mutters, "Go figure."
隠し通せるとは思ってなかったけど、どこから気づいてたの？
From around when you asked Kanon to become the leader of the Revolutionary Army.
最初からか。さすが見かけくんね。
You anticipated this would happen from the time when the Chevalier stalked that female student, didn't you?
そうね。多かれ少なかれ一般学生から文句が出ることは予想してたわ。
And that's why you got Kanon to gather them, since if the anti-order faction formed fractured groups, it'd be a disaster.
問題は一つにまとめていた方が後々で解決しやすいもの。でもカノンちゃんにはリーダーをお願いするときに似たようなことを言ったと思うわ。
Sure, but you never spoke about what would happen afterwards.
聞かせてくれる？
I think there's merit to gathering the anti-order faction to one revolutionary army, like you said earlier. But such a ragtag group can't hold together for very long. If anything, you anticipated the more the numbers to increase, the more momentum they
当
gain.
たりよ。続けて。
Then the number of knights that hold ill will towards the revolutionary army would increase. As a result, you'd get a group of knights wanting to suppress them and a group wanting to observe the
革命
situation.
軍もそうでしょ。カノンちゃんが穏健派で一部が高橋しようとしている。
That's true, so at present it'll be split into 4 groups. We're waiting for the situation.
本当に三影君は優秀ね。やっぱり騎士団に入らない？
She was listening quietly, but now she smiles without hiding her attention, so I don't respond, encouraging her to continue, and she begins explaining how she intends to end the
革命
situation.
軍、騎士団ともにもうパンパンに鬱憤が溜まって少しの刺激で爆発しちゃいそうなほどにね。鬱憤が溜まれば溜まるほど解消した時の留飲は気持ちよく下がると思うの。でもそれは相手が惨めに負けを認めた時ね。この意味はわかるかしら。
Plan to acknowledge you've
負
lost.
けとはちょっと違うわ。カノンちゃんと会談をし、騎士団の非をきちんと認めるの。
That would make the resentment held within the order come out. I can see that splitting up the
だ
group.
から私が頭を下げるのよ。騎士団と革命軍両方に団長という地位があるなら、下げた頭にはそれなりの価値があるわ。もちろんそれで全てが収まるとは思えないけど、一旦の幕引きにはなるでしょ。
Worsen the situation till it's near boiling, then make yourself the scapegoat. In her position as the captain, she's right that her bowing her head would have meaning. That would leave a lasting impression on both the order and the army. You would debase yourself to maintain the peace between the order and army. Do you value school that much?
買いかぶりすぎよ。責任者は責任を取るためにいるってだけ。尻拭いくらいはするわ。
She winks and chuckles a little. I'm not sure what percent of that was serious and what was joking, but I can tell there's no malice there.
じゃあ、カノンちゃんに階段のことを知らせてくれる？あの子も頑張ってくれたし、そろそろ楽にしてあげないと。
I'm not sure what they're going to discuss, but they'll likely find a compromise for both the order and the army. I breathe a sigh of relief now at the end is finally in sight. A few days later, then, Joji submitted a formal invitation to convene with the Revolutionary Army. The topic of discussion will no doubt be about the conduct of the Chevalier and what will be the Revolutionary Army's claims. Kanon's been busy collecting the various claims from all the students day in, day out.
ジンくん、おはようございます。
Morning, you look tired, okay?
階段が決まって、やっぱりみんないろいろ不安らしくて、毎日相談に来るんですよ。これはもう革命軍だけの問題じゃなくて、学生全体の問題ですから。だから今まで興味がなかった人たちもどちらにつくか考えてるみたいで。
This isn't about taking sides, it's to discuss how to achieve an outcome both sides accept.
そうなんですけど、やっぱりみんな不安みたいです。騎士団は歴史もあるし、後押しもありますから。革命軍の要望が一切通らないということも。
And Joji will make sure there's no bad outcome, though. If you lose your confidence, then so will everyone else. Leaders should always be smiling. You're the face of the Revolutionary Army.
そうですよね。私が自信を失えば、みんなだって不安になります。そんな当たり前のこと忘れていました。やっぱり忙しすぎると良くないですね。
She is blushing from shame at her own complaints and shrugs. She then sighs and smiles at me.
やっぱりジンくんはすごいです。いつも冷静に状況を見ていて、しっかりと自分を持ってて、ジンくんがいなかったら、きっと私は革命軍のリーダーを引き受けてなかったと思います。本当にジンくんがいてくれて。
She looks up at me with teary eyes and then grabs my hand nonchalantly so no one around can see. I unconsciously flinch at the soft warm touch before looking at her.
ちょっとだけ
She's fucking
ダメですか？
No, I don't, but, well, I'm not really sure how to respond.
完璧に見えるジンくんでも弱いものがあるんですね。そういうところも。
She shows me a tender smile, which makes my heart pound rapidly. How am I supposed to respond in a situation like this? I don't know what, and I'm so worked up that I'm ashamed of myself, so I forcefully changed the topic. That reminds me to have a meeting after school today.
そうなんです。大詰めですね。今日で騎士団に対する要望をまとめちゃいます。それでですね。ジン君に話があるんです。放課後、屋上で待っててくれませんか?
Cue the fucking chevalier that desperately want to crush the opposition to just move against orders and try and do something. Like, I don't know, fucking hold Kanon captive or something like that. And the MC is just going to, like, you know, borderline murder.
はい。人のいないところの方がいいかなって。そこで大切な話が。
Ah, Kanon! Morning meeting started. Hurry up! Our discussion is interrupted abruptly by a male student. Kanon looks his way, gives him a big wave, and responds in her usual cheerful voice.
わかりました。今行きます。じゃあ、ジン君、放課後に。
She smiles tenderly and reluctantly lets go of my hand before rushing off to the school building. Even after she's left, the lingering sensation of her warmth and softness on my hand keeps my heart rate elevated. Rooftop. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and see you next time. Bye-bye.